It's that Lavallais chick, and I'm here to talk about the Game of Thrones season finale that just happened this Sunday. Before I get started, I need to make sure you get to see this hat. This since 1619. It's a clothing company started by my cousin, Mr. Roderick McNeese. The website will be coming at you pretty soon. I'll let you know when the website is up so you can get a hat or a t-shirt. Every single storyline in that show, in that episode, ended on a cliffhanger. Arya, her storyline, a theme that seemed to be going through this show, people who choose revenge over doing the right thing. Hers, first and foremost, because hers had consequences. She chose to kill the man from way back season 1, Sir Meryn Trant. I can't remember his name. Sir Meryn. He was one of the King's Guard. And he killed her fencing teacher. And this was right before her father was murdered. So it was all a part of the double cross that ended up killing her father. So, this stood with her. So when she saw him, instead of killing the man she was supposed to kill, that the faceless men sent her to kill, she turned around and she killed him. Because the thing about faceless men is you're supposed to become no one. You're not supposed to be. She was supposed to throw away Arya Stark. She wasn't supposed to be her anymore. But she turned it around on him. She was like, I'm Arya Stark, and you're no one. She killed him, slit his throat. Vicious. She went back to the House of Black and White, or basically at the end of this confrontation, she was blind. Then Theon and Sansa jump over a wall themselves. They never show where they jump into. So it's like, you're left on a cliffhanger. What the heck were they jumping into? Because it was mighty high up. My theory is that they were jumping into, I guess, some sort of water or river source. There's water that flows through Winterfell. And it flows around Winterfell and it flows through Winterfell. And it keeps the castle warm throughout the long winters. That's why they're able to stay there. Because, they get the brunt. They get the coldest part of the winters being so far north. Cersei. Now, I can't stand that hoe. But she had this walk. She had a literal walk of shame. Like people talk about, the walk of shame, the night after, the day after, the morning after, and you're walking and everybody knows, pretty much you're wearing the clothes from the night before. She had a literal walk of shame where they took off all her clothes and she had to walk naked in the streets while the Septa walked behind her. Septa is kind of like, the nuns of this, for their religion, the Seven. So the Septa walked behind her and was just shouted, shame, shame, shame. And as she walked through, a lot of the common people was throwing all sorts of crap at her and shouting at her and flashing at her, which I didn't get at all. All those people who complain that there's not enough male frontal nudity on Game of Thrones. Well, there was plenty of that in that shame walk. There was dudes flashing all of their goods to the queen because they could. I don't understand how that was supposed to shame her, but hey, do what makes you feel great, I guess. It was very harsh. This punishment was very harsh. I mean, she killed her husband, but as I was sitting through and watching her do this literal walk of shame, I'm like, this is cruel. This is really, really harsh. I'd rather see a big bloody battle than to watch her walk naked in the streets while people yelled and screamed at her and called her all sorts of names. It was really horrible. So yeah. So just when they had you like, oh my goodness, this is so cruel. I can't believe, I am almost feeling sorry for Cersei. Then you have, oh yes, let's show you why she had to go on this, this long walk of shame. She is still, just dealing underhandedly. And even in the midst of, even while, I was like, this is cruel, and she was going on this walk, and it's just a horrible thing to watch. I did think you brought this on yourself. You gave the people this power because you wanted to take Marjorie out because you were mad because, you know, Marjorie had her son under her little spell, and she was just mad, and Cersei just doesn't think things through. This is a very good example of how clever she thought she was. She was like, I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to let them do it. They are going to take this girl out of my hands, and I can, when my son comes to me and demand that she be set free, I'm like, well, I can't do it. I don't have the power. I can't control the sparrows or the red sparrows or the high sparrow or whatever he is. I can't control them. They're religious, you know, separation of church and state and all that matter, even though she gave them the power to do what they did. But in the end, same way she wasn't able to get, you know, the way that he wasn't able to get Marjorie out, no one was able to come get you when they accused you, rightfully so, of the crimes you did. Going back to that theme of choosing revenge over doing the right thing, we have Brienne, who put herself, you know, as a protector of Catelyn's daughter because she made an oath to her. Well, I guess technically she was going back to her first oath to, you know, Renly Baratheon, but still, it's like Renly is dead. Renly is dead, but Catelyn's daughters is alive, and you know there's one who is definitely going to need your help in the midst of all this war. But you decided, you know what, rather than staying vigilant, waiting for that, you know, light, which did eventually, you know, Sansa eventually lit the candle and put it in the north window so Brienne could come help her. But Brienne had already left to go kill Stannis because she knew Stannis had killed Renly. But she came and she cut off his head, and yeah, she said her little thing, and I'm, you know, avenging the death of Renly. You know, you killed him, and Stannis, you know, being the man that he is, he does not lie. He doesn't, you know, he's like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, it was me. And he took his death honorably. Myrcella and Jaime, they're on their way, you know, they finally leave Dorne, and they're on their way back to King's Landing. He's about to tell her that he is her father, and I'm like, how is she going to respond to that? But she stops him, and she's like, I know what's going on. I know you're my Uncle Dad. And they hug and have a moment, and then she dies. Because, of course, the Sand Snakes, you know, being those bad chicks from Dorne, kissed her. Gave her a really long kiss. Act like, you know what? I know we tried to kill you, but no harm done. I was just really upset that my lover was murdered, but I really wish the best for you. Give her a long kiss. Apparently, the poison was in her lipstick, and one of the Sand Snakes gave her there's an antidote to the poison, so they give her the antidote, you know, so she won't die. But it's just like, wow. It was actually a much smarter way to kill Myrcella, and it also makes you wonder if that was the plan all along. Because, you know, there was no way they could have gotten away with just killing her out and out the way that they did. The prince would have put in jail, but they all, you know, apologized and repented for their, you know, attempt. By the time they find out that she's dead, she's going to be in King's Landing, and there's going to be no way to trace it back to them. And that brings me to my last point, my last heartbreaking, heartrending, this is like the worst pain I felt since the Red Wedding. Them bastards killed Jon Snow. You know, this is going along with the theme of doing, you know, people choosing revenge over doing the right thing. First it was Arya, you know, the faceless men and the murdering the wrong person. It was Brienne and Stannis Baratheon choosing to kill him rather than helping Sansa. There was the Sand Snakes, you know, Alaria choosing to kill Myrcella rather than to let it go. And then finally it was the Night's Watch who decided to kill Jon Snow because he helped the wildlings. Now their fight against the wildlings, it's almost petty. You know, these are people who are just trying to survive, but they do come in and they do, you know, raid the villages. But it's because they're on the other side of the wall and they're trying to survive. But you know, whatever. It's almost like that whole inner city thing. Like, we act out because you oppress us. And but you know, and they're like, we oppress you because you act out. So it's like this whole, you know, back and forth thing. And that they forgot the real reason that the wall went up was not to keep out the wildlings. The wall was there to keep out the White Walkers, and that's who's about to come back and just blow up all of Westeros. And that is what Jon Snow was thinking of. He was like, yes, yes, they did all this. They killed my brothers too. I don't like it. But the thing is, either we get them on this side so they can help us later, or we're going to be fighting them later. They'll be killed and they'll become whites, which is basically like, you know, ice zombies. They only, like, they'll be dead, but they only sort of move at night. During the day, they're back to being corpses, and the only way to kill them is to burn their bodies. And he's like, there's a whole lot of wildlings. If they all become a part of the undead army, that's a whole lot. I mean, there's barely 100 of us here at Castle Black, and you want to go against thousands of the undead army. And when he saved them, it was like basically he was proven right there. It's like he saved as many as he could, but there were thousands left behind. And that dude, that, you know, that White Walker king or whatever, just raised his hands and they all stood up, and all of a sudden they were, you know, the undead. I'm super mad and I'm super pissed about it, but I feel good at the same time because I know it's going to come back against them. Jon Snow was the best leader that they had. And when those White Walkers and those undead come against them, they about to kill all of you. Because I hope when you die, I hope the moment you die, you realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't have killed Jon Snow. I'm gonna stop talking because I'm going to get emotional and upset and all verklempt, and you'll have to talk amongst yourselves. So what did you think of the finale and all the cliffhangers? Not just one cliffhanger, but seriously, a whole episode of cliffhangers that they gave us. What did you think of that? What did you think of season 5? Let me know in the comments. And again, I will have an update when the Since 1619 website goes live. So, as always, please like and subscribe.